Welcome back to Casual Bias Rugby. We've got Aiden with us. We're expecting Jake to join a bit later. And I expect it to be full-on chaos when he joins. Because firstly, his camera's not going to be set up. He's not the prettiest guy in the world. And his team also lost. So, I mean, he's probably just hiding somewhere. But he has to join. He's just a bit late. Anyway, Aiden, welcome back. We haven't seen you in a fair bit. How have you been, my man?
Yeah, I've been good, brother. I've been good. Obviously, I was home in New Zealand in November, and then I was sick for most of Christmas and New Year's, other than New Year's night, which I was uh, very, very much enjoying myself on the old liquid courage. But then was sick after that as well. So it's been a rough couple months. But other than that, I'm glad Champions Cup's back. It's given me something to sit back and watch and react to. So hopefully, if you are watching or following my TikTok, I hopefully will post a little more again. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm just typing to Jake a message because he's um, just realized we're filming. Anyway, sorry, my bad. Anyway, let's get back onto the Champions Cup. It's resumed, and by the
So
way, I think most people were on the liquid courage,
yeah.
myself as well. Deep, balls deep.
Oh
Like,
yeah. I was buggered. I was by myself trying to find my way home from a
oh,
friend's
that's
flat
never
party.
good. That is
Yeah,
never
it was.
good. No, you
I,
can't
I
be
made
by
it
yourself.
back in one piece. It was incredible.
Oh, terrible idea. Anyway, we started off Friday, Glasgow at home against Racing. And in my opinion, this result was never in doubt. Like Glasgow at home, they've built up this thing where I'm like fully confident in saying they are the toughest team to beat at home. Like if you talk about home ground advantage, like don't get me wrong, they're not a bad team when they travel at all, right? Like they're a quality team, just a well coached team, right? Everything just like flows nicely when you watch them. But like at home, they're a different beast. Like they feel like you'd never beat them at home. Would you agree that they kind of give off that vibe that if they get home games, you have to pull up your socks? Welcome,
Yeah,
Jake.
I mean, Glasgow are my favorite team to watch at the moment. They're the most exciting for me to watch. I love the way they play. Their fast, attacking style of rugby. They can bang it up through the middle with the forwards, and they can spread it wide. Tui Pelotu is having a season. He is incredible.
Yeah.
I just love watching them play. And yeah, when they're at home, they do look unbeatable. They never look like they get out of second gear. They're cruising, and when they need to score points to get ahead in the game, they do.
Yeah.
Obviously, the score line against Racing is 29-19, but Racing scored in the 80th minute. So it was never really a close game between the
Yeah.
two.
I think Glasgow was also in the lead like 60-0 after 15 minutes or something like that, right? They
Yeah.
always just come out of the blocks flying. And what's scary about them, and I've brought this up a couple of times, right? Like the attack is so persistent. It's one after the other. And it's like you get some teams, like let's use the Stormers, for instance, or you see the Springboks do it a lot. Like they'll have two or three attacking phases. If they don't get proper gain line success, they'll put the ball in the air. Now I don't have an issue with that, right? That's just basic rugby tactics. Put the other team under pressure, play the game in their off and whatever. Glasgow, on the other hand, they just like continue running that ball. Like they just at some point we're gonna break you down. We're gonna take it from one end to the other. And I don't want to take anything away from Racing. I just think Glasgow, they are that team, especially at home. It's basically it, right?
Yeah, I mean, Racing didn't have obviously Farrell, they didn't have Ligarek, I don't think wasn't playing either. Tuisova not playing. So yeah, I mean they have
Yeah.
some names that aren't in there, but Glasgow at home, they are that team. And I think, if they go deep into this competition and get home semis or even a home final if they get that far, I I mean I think the other teams that they would face, the Toulouses, the Leinsters are better teams, but I think at home, Glasgow could give a wee upset.
Yeah. Welcome, Jake.
Oh, hello.
We are
Mr.
already
Organised
filming, by the
himself.
way. We just spoke about you. You came in on a great time, right? Because we are talking about that team. And speaking about that team, you've got the Stormers. And Jake, I won't even give you an introduction. I'll just introduce you kind of in the way. Jake had a lovely message. I backed the Stormers, but I saw Sale's team, and all of a sudden, I'd be fearing if I was the Stormers. 80 minutes later, 40 zip. 40 zip.
Um,
Jake has had a horror weekend. Not in terms of all his predictions, but I mean, his team lost. He had an embarrassing prediction like that. Jake, what do you have to say for yourself?
well, you can get very mouthy about the Stormers and that, but you're still not going to get out of the group. That's the facts of it. I mean, I said nothing wrong. I said the Stormers would win, and then I saw Sale's team, and they should have done better, and they should be embarrassed at that performance and that scoreline. I mean, they had, 3 yellow cards at one point or something, no, but still, what is that discipline? It's terrible. And then 40-0, it's not good enough for the players that are out on the pitch.
Yeah, well, we've got someone that is a regular on CasualBiasRugby. The name's Rose, and she always talks about Joe Carpenter and what's Joe Roebuck and the Dupree brothers. They all were dead out on their feet. They were absolutely nowhere, right? They got thoroughly thumped. Now, obviously, they had the opportunities as well to score some points, but we are going to give credit to defense in a little bit when we talk about Leinster versus La Rochelle. At some point, you have to give credit to the Stormers' defense as well. Like, yeah, they could have scored points, but our defense just held up. I think they had about 10 to 12, 22 entries and still getting nothing. Now, obviously, they knocked the ball right in front of the goal line, so they should have got that 5 points. But other than that, I'm so proud of this Stormers team because I said it yesterday on the live with you two. We don't even have our full team back yet. Like, this is half of our injuries has come back, and you can already see the progress. Aiden, are you with me?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I talked about it on the video just recently, mate. Sale Sharks having a sale on tries and the Stormers cashing in.
Yeah.
Look, you've taken that from a rugby Instagram. You can't then use
I haven't. I have not. That was right from the brain here. Little cheeky little pun just to annoy some of those Sale fans that I don't know. But no, yeah, I think with half the team coming back from injury, obviously not all of them, but you had Yamani Lubbock back, Salman Murat. You just had that base level of a bit more calmness, and when shit hits the fan in previous games without those guys there, it just goes crap, and they all lose faith in how to play rugby, and then they get big score lines put on them. But this game, you could just sort of see they were more composed. They knew what to do. They were making the right decisions. And then obviously that also worked defensively. Obviously not letting in any points is always a good sign. So, yeah, I mean, this is the Stormers I'm used to seeing. I'm hoping that when all their injuries come back, we'll see more of it and we'll see a bit more competitiveness from them. Because I think with their full squad, they are a tough team to beat, especially at home.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, right, in this team, if you think about it, you still have to add the Stormers' best players. You still have to add Sasha. You still have to add Damian Willems. You still have to add Ben Jason Dixon. I don't think Frans Malherbe was particularly great, but then you get Neetling Fouchier, who makes scrumming look like an absolute joke. And this Stormers team is on a good run at the moment. You look at the other South African teams, Stormers has beat the Lions, they've beat the Sharks, they've beat Sale Sharks now as well. Like, that's a little run of form. Obviously, we'll get into our predictions in the next episode. But like, I'll back us to go and do a job at Racing. I know it's tough to beat the Frenchies in France, but I'd back the boys. Like I think the confidence is there. You can see the team starting to play for each other. And I want to give a special shout out to, obviously there was a lot of standout players, but there's a guy, Jonathan Rauch, or Roach, however you pronounce it. Right? He played inside center for the Stormers. Last year, that guy played university rugby. When I saw the team announcement, obviously we've still got our injuries. I was like, I don't even know who this guy is. He had a stellar game, like unbreakable in defense. And that's what you love to see. We are seeing young guys coming through as well. But this is not a Stormers show, so I will.
No, you managed to do a quarter of your whole video in 12 games just on
Jake,
one.
do us a favour. A favour.
Yeah. Yes, a favour. I will tell you why I'm late. I had a hot chocolate in my mug. You either love rugby or you're wrong.
Oh, I love that. Fair enough. I'll actually give it to you for once we're on the same side.
Mm. Yeah, what's the next game?
Sharks versus Toulouse.
Oh,
yeah.
Jake,
Aidan, what do you think? As a fairly new Champions Cup watcher, watching two of the sort of best teams on paper, sort of what's your opinions of that game?
It was scrappy. I mean, the Sharks, again, not got all their best players. I think it's a different game when you bring in the likes of Etzebeth and Lucanio Arm and all that. But, you can only play the team in front of you. And Toulouse are class throughout their 15. Even if Antoine Dupont didn't play great, the other 14 players stepped up, and that's all that matters. So they got across the line. I think the Sharks played really well in the last 20 minutes. They were the better team for the last 20 minutes. Obviously, we spoke on the live about Lorenzo Julius. He's exciting. I like watching him play.
It's a lovely try that was scored.
Pardon?
He scored a lovely try.
Yeah, the try was exceptional. A fan on Jake's live pointed him out, and he was right. He was exceptional to watch. Yeah, I'd like to have seen a full-strength Sharks team play Toulouse because that would have been a proper match.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Toulouse are Toulouse. They can win at home. They can win away. So it's going to take a big performance to beat them at some point in the Champions Cup.
Yeah. The thing is, like, when you play in Durban at the moment, like, it's so hot there. Those games that we talk about, like torrential rain and those type of things that kind of affect the game? Like, the heat is so much, that ball is literally like a bar of soap. So it kind of takes a bit away from the spectacle. I do reckon that if they played in a more neutral, in terms of weather type ground where it was a bit drier and it didn't affect the game that much, I do believe that Toulouse would have run away with it a bit more. Obviously, the Sharks are injury plagued at the moment, but I don't want to take anything away from the Sharks, and I don't want to take anything away from Toulouse. They went down to Durban, not easy to go to the Shark Tank, got it done. And I mean, yeah, Jake, do you have anything to add to this game?
Well, I thought the Sharks were really good in a lot of defence. They sort of seemed to scramble well whenever even Toulouse made the line break, because usually that's try time for Toulouse. And their line-out defence seemed to cause Toulouse a lot of problems. And yeah, I think it worked out. Dupont doesn't have a Southern Hemisphere problem. He's got an Aiden watching, a Rugby Ramblers. Every time Aiden's watching Dupont and scrutinising him, is a terrible game. So that's the curse. It's an Aiden curse.
He's played, well, as I said, is it a coincidence that he's played 110 minutes outside of Europe? And those 110 minutes, he's been subpar. All I'm saying is there's a correlation there.
He just got a bit nervous because he knew Aiden's the main critic of them all. Little stage fright.
He knew I was going to make a video and it got to him.
Yeah, fair enough. No, but well done to Toulouse. Obviously, it is still a big victory, and it makes life tough for the Sharks to progress in this tournament now. All of a sudden, like a must-win game against Bordeaux in Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Yeah, but tough.
Ideal.
Anyway, talking about Bordeaux, they absolutely finished Exeter. 69 points to 17. Wow.
Rude. They were taking the piss at the end. It's this type of rugby you play with your mates when you come up against a group of people that have never played rugby before. It was an absolute joke. The stuff they were doing at the end, obviously Penno throws it over like two defenders in the middle of the park when he could have just scored the try to give it to Jalibert, who then stepped a player on the try line so he could go under the post. It was, yeah, I mean, if I was an Exeter player, I would have just punched someone then and there. Like, I would have not had.
Well, Jake said that this game will be closer than we all predict. So, Jake, what do you have to say for yourself?
No. I think if we go back and rewind, we both said it'll be closer than we predicted.
No.
Yes, you did. I remember you saying I thought it'd be something like 40, 45-20. But no, Bordeaux have spanked them even more than I thought they would. Yeah, they got Penno, Buros, and BLBRA. It's just one of the most exciting back threes in any club in the world. So yeah, they just sort of demolished Exeter with that quality in the backs with Jallibert's a 10, and they're stacked at Bordeaux.
Yeah, they look much better with Jalibert at 10.
Sorry?
What?
They look much better with Jalibert at 10. Obviously, they had Carberry in last Champions Cup game. And
Jalibert is
he's
quality.
Right.
That's
Jalibert's a
quality.
player.
Yeah. What do we think about that Bilberay's incident? Not incident where they scored the try, but his foot was on the line. I know it's by the rules, it's a try. But in my head, I'm just like, if someone touches the ball while you're out of play, that ball's out.
I saw one last year, and so it's just one of those quirky rules. And everyone's going to complain, that's why rugby isn't big. I mean, it's something you see once a year. Shut up. No one cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bizarre rule. And it's not like it would have changed the result. Like,
No,
if
not
it
at
just
all. No, not
if
at
this
all.
was like a big close game, then yeah, you'd be like, well, that's a stupid rule. I wish that had been changed. But like in a game like this, as Jake said, I've never seen that before, and every year that I've watched rugby, so I've not even known it was a rule, so I don't really care about it.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, like, if that was a nail-biting game, I wouldn't necessarily be happy with that. Because, like, I'm used to if the guy's in touch and he touches the ball, it's out of play, right? It just makes sense.
But it's a
Yeah.
rule for everyone, and any player who takes extra care to learn all the rules will know that and use it to advantage. Exeter can't complain. It's just one of those
Was it just
fans can complain.
was
It's a good rule.
was it just because it was his foot, right? Because obviously, if you run with the ball and it's in
What
your
they're saying is he's not.
He was never in
technically
possession.
Yeah, he's just kicking it. He's not in possession of the ball, and the ball hasn't
Oh.
left the field of play.
Yeah, so it's not like he's like had it, dropped it onto his foot while being in touch. He's never had the ball, so he's just kicked a stray free ball while his foot was on the line. So that was their reasoning.
Okay.
It's a quirk of the rules, but
Yeah.
But strange. I'm not going to moan about it or anything. I just thought it is a bit strange. But anyway, here's my favorite game. Munster beating Saracens. Brought me so much. I didn't even manage to watch the game, but it brought
Fair
me
enough.
so
You
much
didn't miss
joy.
anything.
Jake, I'll give you the
Boring
floor.
game.
Go.
Munster got a lucky win, a fortunate win at home. I don't know. Saracens were causing him a lot of havoc in the first half with high balls. And second half, Saracens had like opportunities in the first and second half, and the red zone efficiency was terrible. Not a single try from Saracens, and Munster had less opportunities, but they defended really well. And when they had like 5 minutes of getting out their own area in the 22, they took it in the second half, and they probably deserved a win because they're clinical.
Yeah. You have to just give credit to Munster because Saracens, it's a quality team, right? Like we take the piss with Jake, but it's a quality team. We saw they literally dismantled the Bulls in terms of physicality. They've got the names, they've got a bit of flair. So I'll just give credit to Munster because I mean it's a team that we criticize and then they perform and then we give them the credit and then they just
I mean,
show up like total
What's
shit
happened?
again.
Saracens' most important players like what Gonzalez and Tom Willis and Benel didn't really have great games, and then the Munsters did, like Burn and Coombs had great games. But it's really Saracens' backs which couldn't break down the sort of Munster defence. They had to get kicking it or going for drop goals. So yeah, there's problems in the backs.
Yeah, but Munster's defense has always been really solid, to be fair.
Mm.
Aiden, did you manage to get an eye on this game?
Yeah, I watched this game. Neither team played well in this game. There was a lot of unforced errors on both sides. The points were scored off mistakes from the opposite team on both sides again. And realistically, of the few opportunities that either team got, Munster took more of them, and that's why you see a bigger scoreline for them than Saracens. It's pretty much as simple as that. If you make less mistakes than the opposition and capitalize on their mistakes, then you come out on top. And
there was a moment, Casual, where Saracens are 9-3 up and they're in Munster 22 and they get a line break and then they keep trying to attack and they can't go. And eventually they go for a drop goal and Ferguson miss. And within like 2 minutes, well, like 5 minutes, Munster get 2 quick fire tries. And it's just like that's the game, really.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like, once again, I'm referring to that La Rochelle. Like, La Rochelle dominated and they gave Leinster one opportunity, and that's all they needed to go and score a try. But we'll chat about that in a second. There was another lovely little comeback. We all predicted Saints to get a proper victory over here, over Stade Français. 21-0. 21-0. And you lose was it halftime 21-0? I could be mistaken.
It was like 6 minutes. It was ridiculous. It was like in the first 10 minutes, they'd scored 3 tries.
Yeah.
And then conceding 45 points after that.
Yeah.
Losing
Red card FC with a wondrous comeback. Like, what's going on? Did they get any cards in this game? I didn't get to see all of this game, so.
I don't know. Also, I was at the same time as Saracens one, so I only had a half eye on it. I think they did. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, it would be standard for them to get another red.
I mean, if this was one of our teams, I'd be breaking TVs, monitors, laptops, fists. I don't even care. Bottling 21-0 lead. is ridiculous, especially if you are a quality team like Saints. Like all the strong guys played, right? All the big names played, didn't they, Jake?
Well, they're missing players like George Hendon Furbank and a couple of in the pack. But yeah, they've lost some crucial players from last year when they won the title, and clearly their forwards aren't as beefy as a lot. I mean, losing Courtney Laws alone is like,
but not enough to bottle a 21-point lead.
No, they shouldn't lose a bottle 21-0, but it's not uncommon for them this season to concede 25, 30, 40 points. Their attack's great, but their defence is what's letting them down.
Yeah. I mean, credit to Stade Français. That is a never say die attitude if you've ever seen one. Like that is absolutely crazy. Because I'm guessing there was a couple of people that have left that stadium 10 minutes into the game thinking this is an utter disaster. Anyway, talking about utter disasters, Bulls, 49 points to 10 against Cast. What's going on? What's that? 5 in a row for them that they've lost?
Yeah, they're getting spanked. They're gone. They're out of Champions Cup. That's it for them.
Yeah, and Jake White said it as well. Like, mathematically, I think they can still make it. Like, possibly. But Jake White has already said, listen, we're just binning it off. Doesn't really matter. But now he's got to go on a run in the URC. And the games don't get easier. Because now they've got some home derbies as well. They're playing the Stormers, they're playing the Sharks, and they're playing the Lions. And all three of them are big threats at the moment. Like, it's not looking great if you're a Bulls supporter.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do well at URC after being so poor and saying you're focusing on URC. So, like, if they don't perform in the URC, it's just a poor season.
Yeah. To be fair, right? None of us predicted the Bulls to win because we know how good Cast is at home. And the Bulls also sent a fourth team again. So, it is what it is, like a bunch of youngsters. But I'm not a fan of Jake just sending the weakened sides and kind of binning it off before you really don't have any chance of going through. Because you know what one victory does for you. I mean, look at the Stormers. We haven't won a game. We just won and all of a sudden we're in fourth. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah.
So who's Bulls' next Champions Cup game? Sorry.
Is
it French one?
Yeah.
Munster?
No, because you don't play they won't play the URC team. It's totally slipped my mind now. Let me check.
On a Munster playing Saints, I think.
It's going to be a French team. It's going to be not Cash.
Stade Français?
Yeah, with Stade Français.
Yeah.
No.
Or Clermont, one of the two.
Playing at Loftus, but
away at home in Loftus, that's winnable. So
if I was just the Bulls, play a full strength team anyway, right? It's your first games of the year. Play a full strength team. You don't want to send your full strength team ice cold into a derby, right? Like surely get them some warm up. Playing at home against Stade Français, just get some momentum. Just get a win again before you go into 3 derbies. That's kind of just what I'm feeling. Anyway, Leicester Tigers, they had a close game with Ulster till about 60 minutes, and then just ran away with it in the end. They're just quality at the moment. Like they're on good form in the Champions Cup. Look at what they did to the Sharks. What are they doing at the moment, Jake, in the Prem?
Ugly wins is what they do. They're fourth, which is pretty decent in the Premiership. There's a lot of competitiveness there, and they've got a great squad. You know, look at some of those names, and they are a strong team. Leicester, they just sometimes they win ugly. They're just not the most entertaining team to watch. But I'm not surprised they beat Ulster. Just the lineup is way stronger for me.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add to this game.
I mean.
Freddie Stewart keeps playing well. Again, after I said he was rubbish and gave him all the stick earlier in the year or earlier last year, and he's been playing exceptionally well. It's like he's gotten quicker. He still turns slowly like a cruise ship, but he is quicker. He's inserting himself into the game, making line breaks. Obviously, great under the high ball. We all know that. But yeah, he's really becoming an attacking threat, and it's coming through in these games. And
yeah,
I mean, Jake Leicester surprised me.
Jake, I know I'm skipping ahead a bit, But looking at the Six Nations, if Furbank's out, do you reckon they go Marcus Smith at fullback and Finn Smith maybe at 10 or George Ford at 10? Or do you reckon he's put his name in that for that fullback position come Six Nations?
I'd imagine Freddie Stewart stays at fullback, and I don't want to see Marcus Smith at 10, just at 15, just keep him at 10. I mean, the fact that as soon what Borthwick brought in Stewart against you lot at South Africa tells me he's probably still ahead of Smith for that role.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean you got to reward him for the good form. Like he's been
in great form this year in the Premiership, and Ollie Hassel-Collins, the winger, is also in great form. Could get picked for England, joint top try in the Premiership. So yeah, they both had a great game against Ulster.
Yeah, fair enough. Toulon once again getting it done against Harlequins. Jake, you brought up, and I agreed that if there was a game that Harlequins could pull off being Harlequins, it was this one. Toulon just came out of the blocks too quickly, gave Harlequins too much to fight back against. So they kind of just cruised home in the end, 33 points to 21.
Well, the second half, they turned up like Harlequins. So I think it was like 21-7 to Harlequins. Look at just the second half. The first half, they didn't really turn up, and then Chisholm, one of their flankers, got a yellow card, and they lost 2 tries in 5 minutes. So it just they're out at half time.
Yeah. Toulon just keeps on impressing, Aiden. I asked you yesterday who's been the most impressive team in terms of what our standards were for them. And we know Toulon is a quality team, but we didn't expect them to perform as well as they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean they had this heritage as like a superstar team, early 2010s, with their Champions Cup winning squad, and then they sort of fallen off a cliff a bit, and then now they're coming back, and I had really no expectations for them. Obviously, I know Leicester Fainga'anuku plays there. I still haven't seen him play for them because every game I watch of Toulon, he's not playing. But they've been exceptional. They've really impressed me. Baptiste Saron is incredible. I absolutely love the way he plays. Their halfback, he's magic every time he touches the ball. The fact that he's the 4th option right now for France is ridiculous.
It's criminal.
On form, I'd have him second. I'd have him above Luku and above Lagarek, who I really like as well. Yeah, they're just playing really well, and by the way, their fans in their stadium atmosphere is incredible. It's the first time I've seen a game or watched a game at Toulon. They have this awesome big chant ritual before the game. Really cool. Crowd was getting involved. But yeah, I just think they're good. I'm going to back them to do well in this comp and maybe a few upsets later in the competition.
Yeah, boys, we've got 10 minutes left to talk about the final 3 games. As you know, Zoom loves just kicking us off. But we've got the big one. Yesterday's game, La Rochelle versus Leinster. And I brought it up at the start when we spoke about the Stormers. Defense won this game. The amount of pressure that Leinster's defense was under, how many set pieces did they defend? 5 meters out even. It was ridiculous. And they got one sniff, they scored the try, got the lead. And from there, they just kicked their penalties. And it was a crazy ending. It wasn't the prettiest game to watch, right? But it was nail biting. Took you right to the end. The amount of chances that La Rochelle had to win the game at the end. You think about the penalty. You think about the drop goal that got charged down, but they got another opportunity after that, and then they ruin it with a forward pass. This game was like rugby personified. That's I couldn't take my eyes off it as a neutral, which is absolutely lovely. Jake,
yeah,
what was your thoughts on this one?
I mean, me and Aidan watching it together and on TikTok, and it's just I keep saying it. That was like a test match at club rugby. That the intensity that both the teams, their defense is just awesome. And yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't loads of tries, but I loved watching it because it felt massive, and both teams were brilliant.
Aidan?
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams were a little scrappy in that first half. It sort of felt like they were both trying to build into the game a bit. I mean, obviously Leinster had their one try in the first half, which was a lovely bit of skill. But other than that, and then the second half was just who had the better defence, really. And Leinster's defence is what they're known for. They just held out. I think La Rochelle will be kicking themselves at maybe their decision making and sort of that last 8 to 5 minutes of the game. Hastoy taking a penalty from 55 and moving it forward 3 meters while the ref wasn't looking. Even with those extra meters, he didn't have that in the tank. I think that was going to be right at the edge of his range regardless. And after 80 minutes of rugby, I thought it would be a better call to go for the corner. And then the drop kick. Why was he not in the pocket is what I don't understand. He took it from your regular fly half position. And of course, he just got charged down by might have been Snyman, who's already a giant anyways. Yeah, I thought they could have played that last little 5 minutes better, and they'll probably rewatch that as a team and figure all that out. But credit to them for the other 78 minutes. They were brilliant. Both teams were really. And as Jake said, it was super intense. Like we were watching on the live and we were getting involved. We were yelling and up in an iron and going, oh no, and all that. All the exciting stuff. So it was a great game. For me, the most entertaining game of the weekend. So I loved it.
By a country mile.
Yeah.
And it just showed you that you don't need a million tries to kind of make a game interesting. It still felt end to end. The heats that came in were absolutely massive. I thought really a shout out to the ref of the game. I thought he was outstanding. I thought this game was refed so well. It just shows you, right? Like Leinster would have had a bit of confidence going into this game after beating them last season twice. And still it's a nail biter. They just serve up banger after banger every single time. Like it's crazy. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Bears crawling over the line against Benetton. Like you just never know with Benetton.
Yeah, and they had a disallowed try at the end as well, so they could have lost. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, the Bears, again, plagued with injuries like many other teams. Benetton are playing well, too. They've been playing some exciting rugby. Obviously, they got that win over Bath in round 2. But, yeah, I don't have too much to say on it. I wasn't watching as much of this game because, obviously, La Rochelle, Leinster was on at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, Bears will be happy with the win. I don't know where that puts them in their group, but I like the Bears, so I'm glad they won.
Well, Jake, we were pretty confident on the Bears getting a pretty decent result in this one. Didn't end up like that, huh?
No, I wasn't confident because Bristol's home form has been terrible this year. They've had a great away record. And losing McGinty like 3 weeks ago was massive, and they've got other big injuries, especially like BETWAY, one of the most informed players in the league. So yeah, and Benetton took a really strong team. It's 2/3 of the Italian team starting, to be honest. So I think it's a good win for Bristol, and it keeps them within the fight. They've got to go away to Clermont, which is winnable, but it will be tough. They're doing well in the top 14. But yeah, I was watching more of the Leinster game, but Bristol got over the line.
Yeah, well, I brought it up. I think I said that Benetton might be the same as Harlequins. Like they could do the most Benetton thing and go and win. And as Aiden just mentioned, they could have actually won the game in the end. But anyway, yeah, massive victory for Bristol. I'm pretty sure they got the bonus point there as well. So massive 5 points for them in the table. But yeah, you just brought up Clermont. They got a beat down by Bath. Bath were just so clinical. Thomas du Toit again, 2 tries. Like that guy is unstoppable. He's so good.
And he won't start for the Springboks.
No.
He's a bench player.
He doesn't even make the bench for the Springboks because on the bench we are playing Vincent Koch and Gerard Steenekamp. Like if there's an injury, it might be Thomas du Toit or it might be Volko Low. And probably on form, both of them has to be in the team. If you look at the way Box is playing at the moment and the way that
I watch him for Bath, and he's being robbed of Springbok caps. He is awesome, and he gets loads of tries to Bath.
Yeah, I mean that's prop stocks. If any team's got them, South Africa and France, their prop stocks are very thick, very deep, very powerful. Yeah, it's an interesting choice of words I made there. But yeah, Bath, they look good. Finn Russell looked good. There's not much to say about it really. They were exciting. The ball was dry. Which suits Bath. I think they can play some fast running rugby, which they like to do, especially with someone creative like Finn Russell at 10. So it was the result I expected. Clermont are a good side.
Did you expect it by that much, right? Because like Clermont's been impressive. They've been great in the top 14. They've put in a couple of good performances in the Champions Cup. I know they lost to Leinster. No, was it Leinster? They lost to Leinster. But still, they've been a good team, right? And 40-21 is not child's play.
Yeah, well, I just think like Bath needed a win. Obviously, their first two games they'd lost. They put out a full strength side, or as much of a full strength side as they could. And as I said, dry ball I think makes a huge difference for a team like Bath. Um, it just allowed them to play at home, play the style of rugby that they're known for. And yeah, I think I predicted it by 11 points. So it was a little more than I predicted, but I just think Bath are a quality side, and they needed to put in a performance, and they did.
Yeah. Jake, do you have anything to add before we wrap up over here?
No, not really. Just Bath pretty clinical. They're top of the Premiership for a reason, and yeah, they did as I expected, really.
Yeah, they just showed their quality. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to like and subscribe. Hopefully we see Aiden and Jake back for the predictions, because it's always quality. It's a bit of fun, and they always pull out a couple of absolute howlers. But yeah, anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you and bye-bye.